Late at night, as everyone was tucked away, trying to catch some sleep outside, the biting wind howled, rattling. At the foot of some houses, a few dogs still whimpered, shivering each time the wind lashed at them. Even with a thick coat and an owner who'd made them a bed from old clothes, the dogs couldn't stand the cold. The female dog lifted her head, whimpering softly, her eyes scanning around before resting her head down again, continuing her slumber. Despite the bitter cold of the night, some were still awake. They lurked in the bushes. Beside a fence, a small, deserted house stood, its door slightly ajar. Clad in thick coats and scarves that covered everything but their eyes, one of the men whispered, "Come on, boss, what are we waiting for? I'm getting impatient." The other man pulled the first one back, gesturing for silence. "Wait a bit longer. I have a feeling someone might be inside. We need to check again." His subordinate didn't dare to argue, sitting still, arms wrapped around his stomach. Shivering violently from the piercing cold that stiffened his body, his teeth clenched tightly together. Next to him, the man he called boss sat silently, his eyes straining to peer into the house, a house usually unoccupied. Yet its owner was frequently away on business. That was precisely why these men were here tonight. Normally, they wouldn't bother with this house. However, recently, they'd heard rumors that the owner had been making money, a lot of it, and seemingly, he was successful. Some even said the house was now filled with cash. Evidence for this was just a glance. The two men had spotted dozens of brand-new padlocks installed all around the house. Even the main gate had two extra strong, super secure locks, making it an undeniable target. Before these rumors, the owner, despite his frequent absences, had kept the house rather carelessly secured, sometimes not even bothering to lock it. This suggested there were no valuables inside. The house was merely a place to return to, but it seemed everything had changed. The owner was different now. The house likely held many high-value assets, which explained the elaborate security. And so, the two men only waited for the owner to be away before putting their burglary plan into action. Victor paced back and forth, surveying the area. He confirmed the owner was indeed away, and the extensive locking system wasn't a significant problem for him. The only thing was, tonight, as he approached, Victor couldn't shake the feeling that someone was still inside the house, which made him hesitant to enter. The leader sat deep in thought, observing, pondering, unable to make a decision. His subordinate, Harry, sitting beside him, was trembling all over, his mouth chattering, his heart pounding erratically. He kept looking behind him as if sensing someone was there. Harry tugged Victor's arm and whispered, "Boss, I think there's someone nearby." Victor knitted his brows, puzzled, and muttered, "Why do you say that? Everyone's asleep now. Who else would be out?" He said this, but still scanned his surroundings, checking if anyone was there. But all he saw was the murky darkness, coupled with a thick, descending fog. Harry insisted, "I don't know, but for a while now, I've had the feeling someone's watching me, even right behind my back. Luckily, when I turned around, I didn't see anyone, but I'm freaked out. Maybe we should go home and come back tomorrow? If we're caught, we're dead." "Shut up, what nonsense are you talking about? How many times have we done this and we've never been caught? Why are you suddenly so timid here? What I are you talking about? Get ready to go in. Stop arguing like a coward." Ready, they climbed over the fence and entered. They cautiously scanned the surroundings once more. Assured no one was there, they slipped inside with utmost care. Victor continued to give instructions to his companion, urging extreme caution, despite being confident the house was empty. He was careful because of the lingering feeling that someone was inside, even though the outer door was secured with two massive, super strong locks, not easily broken. And certainly, they wouldn't make noise doing so. The closer they got to the house, the more Victor felt as if someone was inside. His face grew grim as he approached to assess the situation. Beside him, Harry walked very slowly, constantly turning his head to look around, still convinced someone was watching them, even at the main gate where there were several obstacles. Finally, they reached the front door. Harry said, "We're here, hurry, boss." "No, this kind of lock is very difficult. Let's go around to the back and see if there's another way." The two men exchanged nods and stealthily moved along the side of the house to the back, checking every possible entry point. But indeed, the owner had secured everything thoroughly. Every door had the best quality locks installed. Victor clicked his tongue and muttered, "Damn it, everything's locked. Annoying." He showed a hint of frustration, but couldn't help but feel a thrill deep down, confirming there must be many valuables inside. Thinking this, he became determined to break in. And so, the two men painstakingly worked on the lock, Harry breaking into a sweat trying to pick it. Finally, it clicked open. Their eyes lit up with joy. They exchanged excited glances, then immediately opened the door. Their movements were incredibly light. The two men entered, closing the door as if nothing had happened, then surveyed the house. At first glance, they couldn't help but swallow hard, for the place was indeed beautifully furnished under the light of the small lamp Harry held. This was the only light source they carried. Their eyes twitched continuously with pleasure. There must be many valuable things in this house. Victor gestured with his head. You search this room, I'll search that one. Be a little careful, there might still be someone inside. If there is, use our usual method. Harry nodded, and the two split up, heading to different rooms. Fortunately, the room doors weren't locked as securely as the outside, only latched. This made it easier for them to sneak in and search. In one room, Harry searched diligently, but after finding nothing, he carefully returned everything to its original place. This was their method to avoid suspicion. Both had excellent memories. After searching, it only took a moment to put everything back. Harry had initially seemed scared upon arriving at this house. But once inside, he became excited, thinking there were so many valuables that he completely forgot his earlier fears. But everything gradually faded, as no matter how hard he searched, there was nothing worth taking. As he rummaged, he thought, damn it, why can't I find anything? He grumbled, searching every corner, but his movements were no longer as quick as before. His hands and feet trembled violently, because the house suddenly felt terribly cold. What the hell, why is it suddenly so cold in here? This is weird. He said this because, even if it was cold outside, it should be warmer inside. Yet it was even colder inside than out. After searching for a long time and finding nothing of concern, Harry concluded that the valuables must be in the other room, the one Victor had entered. As soon as that thought finished, he heard his name being called from somewhere. Harry. It was Leo, his companion. The moment he heard the call, he thought Victor was calling him, so he answered, Yes, boss, what do you need? Harry didn't hear that voice again, perhaps because it wasn't spoken loudly enough. Harry just thought Victor wanted him to come over, so he immediately left his position. Meanwhile, in the other room, Victor was still searching, grumbling to himself, Damn it, a house like this and there's nothing here. Just like Harry, he couldn't find anything. They had burgled many times, and to avoid detection, their rule was only to take things of real value that would sell for a good price. And as thieves, taking cheap items wasn't worth much, but getting caught would ruin their lives. Finding nothing, Victor was visibly annoyed, his eyes reflecting his frustration. He stopped searching, lost in thought. There's nothing in this house. So why did the owner buy so many big locks? Lost in thought, suddenly a voice echoed. Boss, why did you call me over here? Is there anything on this side? Victor, who had found nothing on his side, was startled. What the hell? Where did you come from? What are you doing here all of a sudden? You scared me. But you called me, boss. Why are you acting so confused? I called you, no way. Huh, so it wasn't you who called me, boss. When did I ever? I've been searching here and finding nothing, which is annoying. Do you have anything on your side? But I heard you call my name, boss. How could I be wrong? It was clearly my name. What nonsense are you talking about? If I called you, I'd know. I never called you. At this, Harry's face suddenly filled with alarm. So you really heard someone call? Leo flinched. He didn't answer immediately, trying to recall, as he didn't think Harry would play such a prank on him. Harry never did that. Leo's teeth chattered and he trembled. Someone did call my name, but now I remember it wasn't your voice, boss. Oh no, then, just as I thought, there's someone in this house. But how did they know my name? You must have accidentally let them see your face. Hurry, we have to find them, Leo. Leo wasn't sure if he had accidentally shown his face during that time. Find them for what, boss? Why don't we just leave here? They saw your face. We have to find them and shut them up so they don't report us, you idiot. If they do, everything we've worked for will be ruined. Leo nodded, understanding. The two quickly left the room, their goal to find the other person in the house and silence them. They searched several times, but Leo and Harry couldn't find anyone else. Harry then nervously said, "Oh no, maybe they've escaped. Let's get out of here quickly before someone else arrives, or we're dead." They looked at each other, nodded, and immediately turned to run back towards the gate. But just as Harry took 3 steps, a voice came from behind him. "Harry." Harry froze, startled, turning around. Leo, behind him, was also caught off guard and almost bumped into Harry. Leo asked in a panic, "Boss, what's wrong with you? Why did you call me all of a sudden?" "I called you." "No way, you just called me in my name too." "No, I didn't call you boss. You must have misheard." Harry was about to scold his subordinate but stopped, glancing around. "They're still in the house. Find them quickly." Understanding what Harry was implying, Leo nodded. Both cautiously searched once more, trying to find whoever had just called their name. Their intention was to find the person in the house, threaten them, and force them not to reveal anything. But no matter how they searched, they found no one, even after ransacking every nook and cranny. The two stood downstairs, looking at each other, full of questions. "Damn it, boss, I can't find them. What the hell is going on?" Harry remained silent. Leo continued, "Maybe we should go home? I'm so cold, my whole body is stiff. I don't know why it's so cold in this house. Do you feel it, boss?" "I don't feel anything. It's normal." "Oh, but I feel like it's terribly cold in here. It's creepy. Let's just go home, or someone else will come." Harry finally nodded, and the two left the house, locking the door again as before, except they couldn't fully secure it. However, everything in the house, after they had searched, had been returned to its original place, making it difficult to suspect anything. However, that was how it usually was. This time, because someone had called their names, they were incredibly anxious. They had stolen many times, but this was the first time they felt truly afraid, feeling exposed. Leaving the house, Leo and Harry split up, returning to their own homes. Back in his house, after closing the door, Harry couldn't stop worrying, his teeth clenched. His eyes were strained, constantly envisioning the morning when someone would come to arrest him. Trying to think, Harry remembered that from the moment he entered until he left, he hadn't revealed his face. He was certain of that. Therefore, he believed he could still deny everything, as he hadn't taken anything from the house. "Harry." In the stillness, Harry suddenly heard a voice call his name in his ear. "Who's calling?" No more voices. Harry tried to remember the voice. It sounded familiar. At first, he thought it was Leo's voice. "Leo, what are you doing here?" He opened the door and looked outside, but there was no one, just a silent, biting cold night. Harry couldn't help but shiver as the cold wind swept in. But upon closer inspection, Leo was indeed not there. He quickly closed the door and spun around, standing frozen in place, trembling uncontrollably, his eyes wide with extreme panic. Now, as he tried to think again, he realized the familiar feeling earlier didn't come from Leo's voice, but from the voice he had heard inside the house he had just broken into. Harry's hands and feet began to lose control. He clung to things around him to stay steady. His eyes darted around the dark house as the feeling of someone being there grew stronger. "Who's in my house? Get out, don't let me catch you." Harry tried to calm himself. Whether it worked or not, he no longer heard anyone calling his name. A moment later, the fear had passed and his thoughts gradually changed. Harry was no longer afraid. Instead, he thought someone had followed him all the way home to scare him. Harry went outside, quickly picked up a piece of wood and cautiously searched the house. He thoroughly checked every nook and cranny, but unfortunately found no one. In another house, Leo's house, he had also returned home. He was hugging his stomach tightly, trembling, his teeth chattering incessantly. Leo seemed very cold. Indeed, the night outside was thick and dark, accompanied by a few gusts of wind. It was understandable that Leo felt so cold. But what was strange was that even after entering the house, putting on a thick shirt and pulling a blanket over himself, he still felt a bone-chilling cold, continuously muttering, "So cold, so cold." Leo didn't understand why he was so cold. He only knew that since he entered that house, he had begun to experience a distinctly different kind of cold, unlike normal temperatures. It took a while for Leo to feel somewhat better and sit still. But then, he started remembering what had happened. Leo didn't know who had called his name at that time. He could only guess it was the person living in that house. But the two of them had searched very carefully, and there was no one. Like Harry, Leo was extremely worried about being exposed and that someone would come to arrest him for the burglaries they had committed in many nearby houses recently. However, running away probably wasn't the immediate solution. Feeling quite tired and increasingly cold, Leo decided to go to sleep. He tossed and turned, trying to find a comfortable position. Accidentally, he touched something beside the bed. Leo froze, trying to see what he had just touched. However, the dark room made it impossible to discern anything clearly. He could only make out in his mind that the darkness of the room, beside the bed, also had another dark shadow standing there. Thinking this, he was terrified and screamed loudly, "Who's there? Who's in the room?" He stared intently at the dark shadow in front of him. It didn't move, he just thought it was a human figure. Leo's hair stood on end, and his limbs felt stiff and numb. "Damn it, run away!" He hurriedly reached for the table to quickly light the lamp. After fumbling for a while, the lamp finally lit up. He immediately grabbed it and turned back, shining it directly towards the bedside. His mouth was open, gasping for air. Fortunately, what Leo saw at this point was a coat hanging on a wooden stand. He muttered, "Oh, it's just a coat. What was I thinking?" It seemed the chain of fear was creeping into his house, making Leo's mind somewhat haunted. Everywhere he looked, he saw ghosts. He scolded himself, shook his head, put out the lamp, and went to bed. Although there was still worry in his heart, he was too tired, so he ignored everything and lay down, drifting into sleep, unaware that as everything plunged into darkness, a dark shadow beside the bed was already moving, taking silent, light steps so quiet that Leo heard no sound. Leo woke up, stretched, and after a little more sleep, he got up completely. He stepped outside, and the sunlight hitting his eyes made him feel refreshed, although it was still cold. Despite feeling a little comfortable after waking up, he still looked somewhat worried. He didn't know if anyone would come looking for him today because of last night. He didn't know whether to call it luck or what, but all morning there was no news from the village. It seemed Harry and Leo had not been discovered, and no one was looking for them. Leo walked around the house until he accidentally met an old man passing by. He asked, "Oh, Harry, aren't you going to work today?" "Yes, Uncle, I'm tired today, so I'm taking the day off." "Where are you going, Uncle?" "Ah, I'm going to Auntie Tyne's house to get some medicine for my wife." The old man then sighed, "Looking at you, I truly feel for you. You're diligent, but don't overdo it. Let others be diligent too. If I had a daughter, I'd marry her off to you right away." Harry gave a forced smile and replied, "Ah, yes, what could be better than that? Thank you for the compliment, Uncle." The old man chuckled and then continued on his way. Harry stood inside, letting out a sigh of relief. If they understood why the old man said those things to Harry, it was because no one knew that he and Leo were two thieves, frequently cursed in the area. As mentioned, Harry and Leo only stole valuable items, leaving no traces. Many homeowners didn't even know when their houses had been burgled. Not only that, but Harry and Leo always appeared diligent, hardworking, and thrifty. Therefore, no one ever suspected them of being thieves or robbers, and indeed, it wasn't just an outward appearance. Harry and Leo were genuinely hardworking. If they could find regular work, that would be enough for them to live comfortably. It's just that humans always have a certain greed, and outward appearances never fully convey a person's true nature. That afternoon, Leo ran to Harry's house. The two cooked and drank rice wine. Leo then said, "Boss, I'm so worried. What if someone finds out?" "It's okay. If they had found out, they would have come to arrest us this morning, not let it be so quiet." Harry listened for a while and then Leo felt relieved. However, he then shifted to another worry. "Hey, the one who called our names last night, I'm getting a creepy feeling about that, boss. Last night I dreamed I was standing in that house and someone kept calling my name. Recalling it, I realized it was the same voice we heard. I'm so scared, boss." As Leo recounted, Harry couldn't help but feel bewildered. His face changed color because Harry had not only heard his name called in that house, but also clearly heard it again when he returned home. He couldn't dismiss it as just mishearing. Harry then stammered, "You really dreamed that?" Leo immediately nodded. "It was so clear. I even thought I was really there. It was so real that I can't forget any detail now. Don't you think this is strange, boss?" "I'm thinking about it too. What the hell happened last night that someone called our names like that? I thought I misheard, but that can't be it because you were called too." Harry paused, then continued, "And I find it strange too. I wonder if that house has some kind of problem. Suddenly people say it's rich and the owner locks it up so carefully. If it's not because there are expensive things in the house, why would they do that? It wasn't like that before. That's exactly what I'm wondering too, Leo said. Indeed, last night I searched very carefully, but I didn't find anything. It's really strange. Harry then fell silent, then Leo said, or maybe that house has a ghost or something, huh? I heard that houses that suddenly become rich often have those kinds of things. What if we accidentally stumbled in there and got haunted, boss? Harry clicked his tongue and said, ghosts and spirits are all nonsense. What's the point of tiring ourselves with that? I think last night we accidentally let them see our faces. They're hiding somewhere and playing tricks to scare us. What I'm worried about is them reporting us. But I don't care, if we get caught, we'll just deny it. We didn't take anything. They don't have any evidence. Leo nodded immediately. The two continued drinking until they were completely drunk, then collapsed and fell asleep. They slept until late afternoon, unaware of the time. Leo was breathing heavily when he heard a voice in his ear. Leo, wake up, I have something to tell you. He smacked his lips and woke up abruptly, but his eyes were still closed, trying to continue sleeping. Again, a voice said, Leo, wake up now. When he heard that voice again, Leo startled and opened his eyes. He looked up at the ceiling to regain his composure. However, the alcohol haze made everything blurry, and it was dark, so he couldn't see anything clearly. Thinking Harry had called him awake, Leo turned his head and mumbled, boss, what are you calling for? Is it dark already? I'm going home now. Harry didn't answer. He only heard a steady snoring sound in his ear. That was Harry's snoring. Leo, surprised, turned his head and stammered, what's going on? In a moment of clarity, Leo remembered clearly that someone had called him awake, but there were only 2 people here. So if it wasn't Harry, who else could it be? As for the fact that he was staying at Harry's house, he thought someone might have come over and knocked on the door. But again, he wondered, because the door was still closed. Why would someone come over and not call Harry, but call him instead? He sat up, glancing around, waiting to see if anyone would call again. Leo only felt that the space around him was a little strange. Beside him, Harry's snoring still echoed steadily, as if he was still fast asleep. So whose voice was it that Leo had just heard? Leo didn't sit still anymore. He slowly got up and unsteady went to light the lamp. When the light came on, Leo's eyes widened, unable to believe what he saw. Where is this? Leo was terrified when he realized he was not lying in Harry's house, but where he was standing was the house they had broken into last night. His memory was excellent, so even when drunk, he couldn't have made a mistake. However, Leo truly wished this was just a mistake. In a flash of fear, he thought that while he was asleep due to the alcohol, someone had snuck in and brought them both here. Trembling violently, Leo's hand holding the lamp shook back and forth, and somehow the lamp went out. Darkness enveloped the entire house. Leo, terrified, quickly tried to relight it but clumsily couldn't. He tried to light the lamp while looking around as if he thought someone was approaching him. And indeed, when his bewildered eyes adjusted to the darkness, he saw a dark shadow slowly approaching. Leo's hands and feet instantly went numb with terror, and he screamed, "Go away, please go away. I beg you." It seemed his plea worked. The lamp wick finally caught fire and flared up. Leo hastily shone it towards where he saw the dark shadow approaching. He immediately saw a human figure. Fear was pushed to its peak. He dropped the lamp, letting it fall and shatter on the floor, then screamed hysterically, falling onto the floor. After screaming, he sat still, paralyzed. In front of him was only thick darkness. In his fear, he was completely blind, only hearing a thudding sound in his ear. This made him even more panicked, his body coiling up, utterly without strength to run away. The thudding sound stopped, and in its place, a voice echoed in his ear, accompanied by a slow, deliberate light that momentarily illuminated the house. Suddenly, a voice rang out, "What's wrong, Leo? What kind of prank are you playing?" Leo, with wide, terrified eyes, saw Harry standing there, holding another lamp. He stammered, "Boss, I'm so scared. Help me. Let's get out of here. This house has a problem." "What problem? This is my house. My house has no problem." At this, Leo blinked, looking around. Only now did Leo realize he was in Harry's house, which was very familiar. And what he had seen earlier, what was that? "What's wrong with you? You suddenly look like you're having a seizure." At this point, Leo himself didn't understand what had just happened. He retorted, "What just happened to you, boss? My head hurts." Harry looked at his subordinate, bewildered, then explained, I was sleeping peacefully, then I heard you saying something and I woke up. Then you were standing there, lighting the lamp. Before I could even ask you what you saw, you dropped the lamp and fell down, screaming. I was just about to ask you what was wrong." Only now did Leo clearly understand what had transpired. He only didn't remember the oil lamp being lit again, or what he saw in front of him that scared him so much. Harry shook his head and stammered, "You were just dreaming. There's nothing like that. This is my house." Leo looked at him, then nodded, confirming. Then he said, "But I'm so scared, boss. Since last night, I've been encountering all sorts of strange things." Leo remembered everything that happened since he returned home, although he didn't know if it was related. Harry listened, feeling increasingly bewildered, but still tried to say, "We're probably just scared of being caught, thinking too much and imagining these things. There's no problem. Now that we've both been seen as diligent workers, we're very worried about what we've encountered." Harry still nodded, listening. Tonight, he didn't dare to go home to sleep, but slept here. Fortunately, neither of them encountered anything strange or heard anyone calling their names again. The next morning, as soon as the sky was bright, Leo left Harry's house to return home. As he passed by that house, he saw someone at the door, seemingly the owner, who had returned. Leo felt a slight jolt, but pretended not to care and walked past. "Leo, isn't it? Come in, I have something to tell you." Before he could step past the gate, Leo was startled to hear a voice calling him. He turned to answer, "Yes, uncle. Are you going somewhere? Come in, I have something to tell you." This incident made Leo nervous, unsure how to react, but he decided to nod and enter. "Uncle, why did you call me in? What's wrong?" "Ah, I just came back from up there. I have some venison to give to the neighbors, and since you're here, I'll give it to you now. Here, take it." Leo felt a slight sigh of relief but remained focused, fearing that this person might be setting a trap to catch him. "Thank you, uncle. You can go in, I'll stand here. I have to go home now. I'll visit later." The old man casually walked inside. A moment later, he brought out a bag containing something and said, "Take this home and eat it, okay? It's venison. My family isn't home, so I don't need it." Leo hesitated but took the bag and left. In a moment of fear, Leo thought there might be something unclean about this meat. It was highly likely that the homeowner knew he had broken in, but instead of confronting him directly, he was playing this trick. Yet, Leo still opened the bag of meat to check. Seeing the fresh venison, he was tempted. It would be a waste to throw it away. So he decided to cut a piece and feed it to his dog to test. The dog ate it, and nothing happened. Leo felt reassured and went to the market to buy more ingredients for cooking. He spent the whole day preparing a delicious meal, and indeed, nothing happened afterward. In the evening, Leo went to work as usual, returning home late at night to cook, eat, and rest. A white sleep quickly overtook him. The white dawn passed, and it was morning again. Leo woke up, feeling a bit disoriented. He left the room and went to open the door. The light streaming in made Leo feel comfortable. He stood, stretching, then turned his back, and suddenly he flinched, stepping back. On the table was a familiar bag, the bag of venison the owner had given him yesterday. The only thing Leo wondered was why it was here. Yesterday, he had cooked all of it, and the bag had been thrown into the trash. He looked around in a panic, then stared blankly at the table. Just a quick glance, and he knew what was in the bag, and it was likely the same venison from that person. But how? Leo was startled again when he saw the bag suddenly move, accompanied by a rustling sound. He didn't think he was mistaken. The bag on the table had just moved. Leo stared intently, and not long after, the bag continued to show signs of movement. The sound of plastic rustling against itself caused the bag to be pushed out onto the kitchen table, even though no one had touched it. Leo stood frozen in place, his entire body beginning to tremble. He watched the bag on the table slowly being pushed by something, and finally, it fell to the floor. The contents immediately spilled out. It was venison, just like yesterday. It was the same meat. The only difference was that it no longer looked fresh but showed signs of having been boiled. A swarm of flies quickly arrived and swarmed the meat. Leo, however, stood frozen, unable to comprehend what was happening. Not only the flies, but his dog also slowly walked in. Its fangs looked incredibly scary. The dog approached the meat, sniffing it, making Leo uneasy. "Don't eat it, it's spoiled." Of course, the dog didn't understand what he was saying and continued to sniff, then bit a piece of meat and tried to eat it. Leo stood there, half smiling, not knowing what else to do but watch the dog devour the venison that had already started to smell. But what he didn't expect was that after eating, the dog suddenly turned and looked at its owner, baring its sharp teeth, then growled. That expression made Leo incredibly scared, instantly paralyzed, unable to even think about running away. The dog, which he had owned for several years, now had a terrifying expression, its round, deep eyes fixed on him, its mouth salivating, along with its sharp fangs. The dog slowly began to advance towards Leo, growling continuously. "What do you want? Stop. Get back here, dog." The dog didn't stop. It slowly moved closer, ready to attack. Its mouth foamed continuously like a mad dog's. Leo finally regained his composure and quickly prepared to run, but unfortunately, as he lifted his foot, he tripped and fell. The dog, seeing him run, immediately gave chase. It lunged, then leaped onto him, making Leo scream. "Damn it, you bastard!" The dog wasn't too big, but it was very strong. It pressed him down, growling continuously, then sought a target on its owner's body to bite. The extremely powerful bites made Leo unable to bear it until his head went numb and he passed out. Only then did it stop. Leo lay on the floor, feeling the pain from the violent bites. Blood gushed out, his whole body stiff, but what he had to endure was not over. The dog, its mouth full of blood mixed with saliva, dripped it down. It looked at its owner one more time, then walked onto Leo's body. Its paws pressed into his wounds, making him feel excruciating pain. His body was limp, and he could only weakly watch the animal step on him. The dog moved closer, pressing its mouth to Leo's face, then began to vomit. The dog barked, gagging, throwing up something from its stomach onto Leo's face. And finally, a pile of slimy, black, foul-smelling vomit spewed out. Leo screamed in terror. Leo sat up abruptly, gasping for breath. His body was drenched in sweat. He quickly looked down at his body with terrified eyes, trembling at what he had just dreamed. It turned out everything was just a dream. There was no dog attacking him. Leo found his body completely intact, but the dream had been so real that the pain still lingered throughout his body. "Damn it, it was just a dream, and I thought it was real? What the hell?" he mumbled to himself, then sat thinking, making guesses. Maybe he was thinking too much, which led to such dreams. I must be overthinking. There's no such thing. Regardless, the old man was truly cunning. It's a good thing I didn't take anything that day. Leo tried to reassure himself, then lay down, continuing to wait for the morning. Fortunately, nothing else happened after that. However, in another house, someone was not as peaceful. Harry. Harry, who's there? Please don't call me anymore. Please stop calling me." In the cold night, this young man, known for his gentle face, had a completely different face from a professional thief. Now, that face had changed again. One could say this was his third face, the face of someone utterly terrified. All around his house, Harry continuously heard his name being called. A few hours ago, Harry had just put out the lamp and lay down to sleep when he immediately heard a familiar voice. "Harry, Harry!" He opened his eyes wide. He stayed silent to see if he had misheard. And then, the sound continued to ring out. This wasn't the first time Harry had heard someone call his name. Because of this, fear rushed over him quickly. His body trembled with terror. He tried to close his eyes and sleep, but the call echoed directly in his ear. It went on like this until midnight. Harry couldn't sleep at all. He didn't dare to open the door and go out to find out who it was because he knew that even if he searched, he wouldn't find anyone. He just kept thinking that it wasn't a human but something invisible and terrifying. All he could do was sit curled up on his bed, praying, "Please, leave me alone, don't call me anymore. I beg you, don't call me anymore." After that, he fell silent, not hoping for a reply, but unfortunately, somewhere in that very house, the voice rang out again. "Scared, Harry? Are you scared?" Fear enveloped him again, covering his entire body. He trembled all over, only daring to glance around to see if anything was there. But after that, nothing else happened. For Harry, this silence was truly terrifying. Even though he didn't hear that haunting voice, Harry didn't have the courage to go downstairs because he had a clear feeling that someone was still with him. Harry sat there. Whenever he heard any sound in the house, he would quickly turn to look. It went on like this all night, his eyes gradually showing signs of madness, like someone slowly descending into insanity. As soon as dawn broke, Harry rushed out of the room, opening all the doors, letting the light flood in to somewhat reassure him. His body was exhausted, and Harry's eyes were dark and sunken, like someone who had suffered from long-term insomnia. When he couldn't bear it anymore, he lay down on the floor near the door and continued to sleep. Mr. Harry, Mr. Harry! Harry woke up abruptly when he heard someone call his name. Harry sat up, his eyes dazed, then a look of terror appeared on his face. He quickly looked outside to see who had called. Leo walked in from outside. "Boss, what are you doing out here? Did you just wake up?" "Did you just call me?" "No, I never called your name, boss." "Then who just called me?" Leo was bewildered by Harry's question and stammered. I just came over to see if you were home, boss, but I wouldn't call your name like that." Harry's eyes remained tense with fear. Clearly, the call had woken him up while he was sleeping, but now Leo was saying he hadn't done it. "But I thought you called me. It sounded like you." Seeing Harry's face and messy hair, Leo knew he had just woken up, so he said, "You must have misheard, boss. I just called out boss." "Then why did you come here to find me?" Leo remembered the reason he came over, and his face changed. His eyes were wide with extreme fear as he recounted what he had dreamed last night and also the story about the owner giving him venison. "What? He gave you meat to take home and eat, and then you dreamed that?" "Yes, I just dreamed it last night, and it was so real. I even thought I was really bitten by the dog. Luckily, I woke up. It's really scary, boss." "Then why did you take his meat? Were you exposed?" "At the time, I didn't know what to do. I was worried about being exposed and that he called me in to talk, but if I just left, it would be even more suspicious. I went in to see what happened. He gave me the bag of meat and said he bought it for everyone in the neighborhood. I asked him, and it's true. Maybe he didn't give it to you because he didn't see you, but if he had, he would have." Harry then wondered, why would he suddenly give meat to everyone? What if he knows we broke into his house? "How would I know? At the time, I just accepted it. I tasted it and gave it to the dog to eat, and there was no problem, so I ate it too. But last night I dreamed that it was so scary." Leo thought, then asked, "So, boss, have you encountered anything since that night?" Harry didn't think, but nodded immediately, because indeed, he had experienced too many haunting feelings, and they hadn't stopped. Not long ago, just a few minutes ago, his heart felt like it would jump out of his chest because he heard someone call his name. "I couldn't sleep all night. I only dared to lie down to sleep this morning after opening the door, and then you came." "What else happened?" "What else? All night I kept hearing someone call my name. I was so scared I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard it, oh my God." Leo couldn't help but exclaim. Harry quickly stopped him. "Quiet down, people will notice." Leo nodded, then asked, "So what do we do now? I'm scared." Harry just bit his lip. Leo nervously suggested, "Or maybe that house has a ghost or something, huh? We accidentally disturbed it, so it's haunting us. Maybe we should go there and admit everything, ask him to forgive us. At worst, we'll ask him to give us up, but this can't go on. I'm afraid I won't survive." "Are you crazy? If we go there tomorrow, it would be strange if we weren't caught. Do you think he'd hide it for us? Maybe after we confess, we'll even be thrown out immediately." "Nonsense, forget it." But we can't live peacefully like this, boss. You're scared too, aren't you? Or maybe we should just do that. No, now we're scared, we're just imagining things. There are no ghosts. Don't listen to them, we'll be fine." Harry didn't fully agree with Leo, so he helplessly nodded. However, in his mind, Leo was already thinking of going to the old man's house himself to beg for forgiveness. Harry seemed to notice his intention from his glance and quickly grabbed Leo's arm. "You idiot! Are you planning to go there alone? Don't do it, or don't blame me, I'll kill you." "Yes, boss." A moment later, Leo left Harry's house to return home. Of course, he wasn't afraid of Harry killing him, because Harry didn't have the guts for that. That was just a threat. Somewhere, Leo was also afraid of being caught, so living like this only increased his haunting fear. Leo immediately decided to go to the other person and confess everything, begging him to forgive them. That was his intention, but as he approached the gate, Leo became timid. He stood there, not daring to go in. After that, he gave up, intending to turn around and leave. But as he turned, he saw the old man there, which startled him. "Oh, uncle, when did you get here?" "I just came back from the market. Were you here to see me, nephew? Is anything wrong?" The old man looked at Leo kindly. Leo stammered awkwardly, "No, nothing." "But you look like you want to say something to me. Why don't you come inside?" Leo hesitated, then awkwardly nodded and followed him into the house. He glanced around to see if anyone else was there. Mr. Tin saw this and said, "Are you looking for someone, nephew? It's just me now. My children live elsewhere and only come back once in a while, you know." "Ah, yes, uncle. I thought there was someone else in the house and wanted to say hello." "Why did you think there was someone in the house? Didn't you and I just open the gate and walk in?" "Ah, no, uncle, I just thought so." "Haha, I'm just teasing you. Don't overthink it. Have some water first while I put things away." Leo nodded in agreement, and Mr. Tin walked towards the kitchen, leaving Leo alone to look around the house. Indeed, after observing, Leo saw that every detail in this house showed that Mr. Tin was a wealthy man. Even his rural house, which he rarely visited, was beautifully decorated. Thinking about it, he realized that Mr. Tin didn't keep any valuable items in the house. That was why Leo and Harry hadn't found anything the night before. As he was thinking, Leo suddenly felt a bone-chilling cold penetrate him. It was much colder than outside. He shivered, teeth clenched, trying to endure it. A moment later, Mr. Tin came back up, holding 2 cups of hot tea, and said to Leo, "Here, have some tea to warm up, nephew. It's a bit cold in the house, isn't it?" "Yes, uncle." Mr. Tin sat opposite him, poured the tea, and said, "Drink up, nephew. Now tell me what happened." Leo flinched, quickly grabbing the still steaming cup and taking a hurried sip. He was so flustered that he forgot the tea was still hot. But strangely, he didn't feel burned at all. Leo didn't pay attention to this and stammered back, "How did you know I had something to tell you, uncle? You stood at the gate waiting for me, so there must be something wrong, right?" "Are you right, uncle?" Mr. Tin's words seemed casual, but combined with the way he was looking at Leo, he felt a heavy pressure deep down. He didn't dare to hide anything anymore and immediately confessed. Now, being caught wasn't as scary. Mr. Tin finished listening, then burst into laughter. "So you think there's a ghost in this house, huh? A ghost that called your name when you broke in?" Mr. Tin took a sip of tea, not paying attention to the young man's expression opposite him. He just smiled slightly and said, "So you're not such good boys after all, breaking into other people's houses to steal valuables. That's human greed. Well, you haven't taken anything from my house. Since you're willing to admit it, I'll keep quiet for now and won't report you to anyone. But don't do those bad things, it's terrible. All right, if there's nothing else, just go home. I won't pursue this." "Thank you, uncle. I won't do those things anymore. I'm sorry for breaking in here. I know I was wrong. Please forgive me." "Don't worry, just live a good life and consider this a lesson from youth." Leo quickly left, feeling somewhat relieved, though he wasn't entirely convinced Mr. Tin would keep this secret. He only felt lighter, as nothing terrible had happened. Back at Mr. Tin's house, after Leo left, he went inside, quietly looking at Leo's still steaming teacup from earlier, a smile spreading across his lips. "You broke into the wrong house." Then he closed the door and went into a back room. What he did next was unclear. The long day quickly passed, and night fell again, bringing with it the cold air that enveloped the village and small houses. At Harry's house today, he couldn't go to work after a sleepless night. In fact, that morning, he also wanted to listen to Leo and was very afraid of being caught. If so, his future would be ruined. He didn't think these haunting fears could kill him, and maybe it was just his own imagination, not real, no ghosts, and no one was calling him. Harry went to sleep, and until nightfall, nothing seemed wrong. He just didn't realize that Leo had told Mr. Tin everything. Harry ate dinner alone under the flickering oil lamp, his shadow swaying on the wall. Although there was no wind outside, the lamp continuously swayed as if about to go out. Harry was eating but couldn't help but feel annoyed. "Damn it, what's wrong with this lamp?" The scolding didn't stabilize the lamp. Instead, it swayed more violently. This strange phenomenon immediately made Harry nervous and afraid the fire would go out. Harry quickly stood up, closed the door, afraid of turning around. He sighed, continued eating, and as he chewed, he felt something was wrong and spit out the food. He didn't know what was happening, but Harry felt the pork he had just eaten was quite difficult to swallow because it tasted a bit spoiled. He lowered his head to look at the meat he had just spit out, but he couldn't see clearly. He had to use chopsticks to poke at the meat, but still couldn't figure out why there was a problem. After thinking for a while and still not understanding, Harry just thought the meat was spoiled and threw it away without paying much attention. He was about to pick up another piece of meat when he was startled, dropping his rice bowl because he didn't know when Leo had entered. "Oh, when did you come in here?" Harry stammered. Leo sat beside him, not answering, his eyes like a soulless, terrifying demon, his mouth grinning, revealing his sharp teeth stained by the oil lamp. Leo sat still, looking around, a grotesque smile on his face, his body twitching strangely. Then he turned his face forward, extending his hand to pick up the chopsticks Harry had dropped earlier. He picked up the chopsticks, reached down, and under Harry's terrified gaze, he picked up the piece of meat he had spit out earlier, put it in his mouth, and chewed noisily. "What are you doing?" Leo sat there, still chewing the meat, looking utterly delighted. As he chewed, he said, "Delicious, your meat is so delicious." "Stop, what are you doing? Are you crazy?" "The meat is so good, aren't you going to give me a piece? Please give me another piece." "No, stop, don't scare me, I beg you." Even though Harry was pleading, Leo still let out a silly giggle. "The meat is delicious, your meat is so delicious, please give me another piece. Please, I beg you, have mercy on me." Harry backed away, moving as far as possible as Leo crawled towards him. Seeing this, Harry trembled more and more, his limbs losing all strength. He could only try to crawl away. Harry was so scared his face turned pale, his body limp, no longer having the strength to run. He just kept shaking his head at Leo. "Stop it! Get away!" Unfortunately, no matter how much he pleaded, Leo continued to slowly approach, continuously uttering terrifying words. "Give me a piece, please give me a piece. The meat is so delicious." Harry didn't have time to think any further before Leo lunged at him, grabbing his throat and squeezing tightly, making Harry's eyes bulge. Harry's hands and feet thrashed wildly, and in his wide eyes, he saw the terrifying face of his subordinate, who was continuously gagging, as if about to vomit something from his mouth. Harry struggled desperately, trying to pull Leo's hand away from his throat, but couldn't. Above him, Leo still managed to gasp out words, something about to spew from his mouth. Harry quickly saw a pile of black, slimy vomit spewing out and landing on his face, even feeling something else drip into his mouth, making him gag. At that moment, a voice echoed in Harry's ear. A sound that was too haunting. Harry heard this sound, his eyes wide open, his body completely slumped. He didn't know when Leo had disappeared, only Harry himself remained, feeling that he hadn't died, just leaning against the wall, utterly exhausted, his body twitching continuously. It went on like this until Harry felt completely unaware of anything else. His eyes slowly closed, and the space around him became silent for a long time. The silence was broken a moment later when someone slapped Harry's face. "Wake up! What's wrong with you, Harry? Wake up now," he mumbled, opening his eyes, seeing a few shadows around him but not knowing who they were. One person immediately said, "He's awake now, isn't he? Why is he like this?" After a few gentle shakes, Harry was now sober and clearly saw everything. He recognized that those around him were his neighbors. Right beside him was a young man a few years older than him. "What's wrong with you? What happened in the house?" Hearing the question, Harry was startled, groping his hands all over his body. He realized he was still alive, with no injuries on his body, only covered in soup, his shirt soaked. Beside him was an overturned bowl with a pile of rice and spilled soup. What's wrong with me? What happened here?" "Oh, it's you we should be asking. Why are you asking us?" Harry hugged his head, grimacing, trying to remember, frantically looking around to see if Leo was still there. Fortunately, he wasn't. Then he said to everyone in fear, "Am I still alive? That devil. This kid is yelling for the whole village to hear. We ran over and knocked on your door for ages, but you wouldn't open it. I was so worried I broke the door down. I don't know what you were doing, but you're covered in rice and soup. And now you're asking if you're alive? Are you crazy?" Everyone was annoyed by Harry's behavior but still advised him, "Calm down, let's see what's wrong with him." Then the man turned and asked, "So what's wrong with you? What happened tonight? Tell us everything." Harry stammered, I probably don't remember. Maybe I'm just tired. Nothing's wrong. Thank you for your concern, I'm fine." The women couldn't help but mumble, then turned and left. Oh, the whole night making such a fuss. What did he do to spill all that rice and soup on himself and then won't say when asked? The young man also felt annoyed. "All right, go home and sleep then." Harry could only nod awkwardly, not saying anything more. He really didn't dare to tell the story of what he had experienced, fearing his secret would be exposed. Then he shivered again as he remembered what happened earlier. Although after checking again, Harry didn't find any of that slimy, foul-smelling vomit on his body. Instead, it was just the pile of rice and soup he had eaten. He didn't really know what had happened, only able to guess. At midnight at Leo's house outside, the dog he raised lay in the corner of the porch, not yet asleep, whimpering softly, occasionally running to scratch at the door, then returning to its spot. Inside, Leo was still awake, but his expression wasn't like someone who was sober. His eyes were vacant, looking soulless. Leo sat on the bed, eyes staring blankly, then muttered, "Hungry, hungry, give me meat, I crave meat." As Leo finished speaking, a voice echoed in the house, "Leo." Leo grinned, left the bed, and walked out. Outside on the porch, his dog didn't lie still but ran up and stood upright. Its chest heaved, and it began to bark loudly and continuously at the house door. Soon, the door opened. When the dog saw its owner appear, it whimpered, continuously wagging its tail, then barked loudly and jumped towards Leo. Leo stood there, his eyes wild, looking at the dog, then grinned. "I crave meat. Your meat is very good." The dog stopped barking, as if it knew danger was approaching. It looked at Leo, whimpering, then turned and ran away quickly. Leo didn't chase after it but stood there, sticking out his tongue and licking his lips, then a moment later left the house. The dogs barking earlier had also woken up other dogs in other houses. They barked in unison, and the quiet night was quickly torn apart. Some people were annoyed. "Damn it, what are those dogs barking at in the middle of the night?" The men hurriedly looked around, searching for their dogs. Tonight was less cold than previous nights, the fog had also thinned, and there was even a faint moonlight. This man only searched for a moment before he saw the shadow of his dog near the center of the yard. However, it wasn't barking anymore, only whimpering softly. But what caught his attention was that there was also a shadow of something else beside it. Squinting his eyes to see more clearly, he saw it was a human figure. As he was trying to restrain his dog, he shouted, "Who's there? Are you here to steal my dog, you son of a B***TCH? Let go, I'll beat you to death." He threatened, but the figure sitting beside the dog showed no fear. On the contrary, the man was the one who felt scared when the voice rang out, "I crave meat. Its meat is very good." The man was terrified, startled for a moment, then collected himself. "You bastard! Are you trying to steal my dog, you scoundrel?" This wasn't the first time someone had tried to steal his dog for meat, so he flew into a rage and rushed into the house, running to the kitchen to grab a piece of wood to chase them. However, when he returned, the man holding the wooden stick in his hand quickly fell into a state of extreme fear. His limbs went numb, he dropped the wooden stick, stood unsteadily, then fell to the ground, his body twitching, his eyes wide with horror as he watched his dog being torn apart while still alive. Needless to say, this man was so scared he peed his pants, his eyes staring blankly at the figure continuously biting into the dog's body, even though the dog was still warm and full of fur. Blood splattered everywhere. "What's happening?" The man struggled to scream and call for neighbors to help. Anyone who came running was horrified, turning away when they saw Leo tearing the dog's carcass apart and stuffing it into his mouth. Many people exclaimed, "What is he doing? He's gone mad, everyone." And they easily recognized who it was, Leo. However, he had transformed into a different person, wildly tearing and biting the dog's carcass, then stuffing it into his mouth. Sometimes he would laugh maniacally and say, "Hungry, I'm so hungry, I'm so hungry." Many people were present, but no one dared to approach. Leo's mouth was now covered in blood and dog fur. In his hand, he was still holding the dog's head until people decided to rush over and hit him, knocking him unconscious. Only then did the tension somewhat subside. "Damn it, what is this madman doing? Why did he suddenly turn out like this, Harry?" "Who knows, what do we do now? This guy is crazy, not normal at all. For now, let's tie him up and ask him when he wakes up." "Ask what? He's crazy, not a normal person. Is it true that he bit the dog while it was alive? That's terrifying." The incident caused a commotion among the villagers. Everyone got goosebumps when they heard the homeowner recount the story. They just didn't understand why Leo had become like this, still holding a faint hope that he would be sane when he woke up. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. When he woke up, Leo continued to frantically try to escape, his mouth continuously mumbling, "Hungry, hungry, give me meat." With no other option, everyone had to gag him, intending to report to the local authorities to investigate. The commotion was so loud that no one noticed Mr. Tin among the crowd. He showed no fear or surprise, only looking at the madman in front of him with an extremely strange gaze. A cold attitude, then he turned and walked away. That very night, government officials came to investigate and take Leo away, but he had completely fallen into a state of madness. They couldn't get anything out of him, they didn't know why he had become like this. people could only guess that Leo had encountered some kind of problem and couldn't keep his sanity. What's more, somehow, Leo managed to escape from where he was held and wandered around the village, continuously speaking things no one understood. Hungry, so hungry. Don't call me anymore, don't call me anymore. As he spoke, he covered his ears, his eyes darting around, his head nodding violently, making everyone afraid to approach, although he was subsequently caught and confined again, but somehow he still escaped. This happened many times, so no one wanted to catch Leo anymore. Leo had already become a madman. The only thing was that occasionally, someone would come to report that their dog, pig, or chicken was missing, some even lost a cow, leaving no traces. Each time, Leo was caught again, but eventually he would escape, not to run away, but only to wander around the village, mumbling things no one understood. So the villagers had to diligently watch over their property, building high fences around their houses as a precaution. Indeed, it was like that. Occasionally, people would still see Leo appear with blood on his body and even animal fur in his mouth, as if he had eaten something raw. More than anyone, Harry was the one who could somewhat guess the reason why his subordinate had become like this. By this time, he truly believed that the house concealed something demonic, as Leo had said. Harry also hadn't lived comfortably all this time. Every night, the haunting feeling of someone calling his name prevented him from sleeping. Gradually, his body became thin and emaciated, his eyes sunken, looking like someone on the verge of death. He truly couldn't live like this. Now he wanted to go to that house and confess everything, hoping to escape all of this. The only thing was, he didn't know Leo had also been there, and as a result, had become so terrifying. That morning, Harry went to Mr. Tin's house, and Mr. Tin immediately invited him in. Mr. Tin asked, "What's wrong, young man? Do you need something from me?" "Yes, uncle, if I don't tell you, I won't survive." Mr. Tin looked surprised. "What's wrong that you have to tell me, or you'll die?" Harry no longer had the composure to care about Mr. Tin's attitude, and just recounted what he had done. "Uncle, you can report me to them to arrest me, but please, uncle, tell those things to leave me alone. I know I was wrong. I won't say anything related to you. I absolutely won't say anything about those things you're keeping here." Mr. Tin exclaimed, then asked, "What are you talking about? What am I keeping? You see, my family and I only come back here occasionally. There's nothing in the house, no cats, no dogs, no pigs, no chickens, so why are you asking me to tell them to leave you alone?" Harry knelt down and pleaded, "Please, uncle, please forgive me, I was wrong, please forgive me." Mr. Tin still looked very casual, helping him up. "Just sit here, I won't do anything. Have some tea, please, for my sake." Harry quickly grabbed the tea and drank it, thinking that doing so would make Mr. Tin release him. But only a few days later, people saw him rushing out into the street, showing the same symptoms as Leo. And from that day on, there were 2 madmen in the village, whom no one wanted to approach. And for dozens of years after that, no one knew how Leo and Harry lived. But when they were completely worn out, no longer looking human, their minds finally became clear again, no longer insane. The 2 limped out of the village when they regained consciousness. No one knew where they went. Only when they passed by Mr. Tin's old house, which he had completely left, hearing that he was now very rich and powerful, never returning to this rural area, did Leo and Harry briefly stop, looking into the abandoned house, then shivered from the cold wind and turned away. It was as if they understood what had happened. The reason why they became insane, unable to continue living here. Although after many years, regret was too late. Both could only tell themselves that doing bad things eventually comes with a price.